Greetings and salutations, greetings and salutations, greetings and salutations. Back again. Season 4 in the house, episode 2. And no, the name don't spell wrong. It is not C-U-S, it's C-O-S. It is Marcus and me. And I'm excited because, you know, one of the things about living for like a while and you get up in an age, some people who you knew when they were young'uns coming up, you get to see them in them big people things, in them adulthood doing their thing. And I'm really excited for this to be the second episode in season 4 of a young man who I had the privilege of sharing space and time with. In fact, my producer, the Michael Sean Harris, was also one of the young people in that space at that time. Ashe is the space and time. And Joseph Robin was a good friend, colleague of mine. And I was actually administrator with Ashe for a period of time and was in the landscape and in the space when Ashe was doing their thing. And Marcus Jose James, he was just Marcus James then, was in that space and in that place and time. And for me, the thing I want to say about this episode is that the power of standing in the truth of who you are, your destiny, your birthright, and your given talent. So the thing that says a man's gifts makes room for him. And so this conversation is Marcus and me talking about his journey, his liberty, him stepping into his destiny, and him talent just busting all over the place. And I'm so excited to have him in the place with me today. So please help me welcome Marcus Jose James. To
Thank
Fabian Seh.
you.
Hello, please, and how do do? Hello, please,
Thanks.
and how
I'm
do
really
do?
good. I'm really good. I mean, it's still Marcus James. I mean, I just put my full name there for some reason, but still the same. Still Marcus James. But thank you so much, Fabian.
Yes,
And
thank
you
you.
know,
And
you
also,
just
when I was doing my little research on you, I noticed most times when there are articles on you, they use the whole thing, and I like it. It kind
yeah.
of has a thing.
There is actually a story behind that if you want to get into that. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing theater for a while. You know, I worked
Mm-hmm.
with Disney and did the lead role of Arjuna in a production for Sadal as well. It's called the Mahabharata, which we can get into. When I then started to get into film and television, the first film I did was a film with Ashley Walters, and then after that, I booked Game of Thrones. So when it was time to do Game of Thrones, they messaged my agent in the UK and said, "Okay, what name do you want to use for the credits?"
Mm-hmm.
And I had a discussion with my agent, and she was like, "Let's just go with Marcos James. You know, I have two Spanish names and an English name as a surname." And she was like, "If you go with Marcos Jose, it gives a very specific impression of who you
Ah,
are and your background, etc." So she said, "Let's just stick with a more neutral name in you know in terms of the interpretation of my full name." And that's how we
yes.
settled on Marcus James. But to be honest with you, I've been contemplating using my full name in the future, Marcus Jose James, because I like it.
Yeah.
But you know, Marcus has that's how it evolved to me being credited as Marcus James. It was a very conscious decision
Right.
by the management team at that time.
And that's also interesting and very real. So two things popped into my head is, first of all, the diversity of who
Hmm.
you are, your identity. And also that's a very recent thing in the Jamaican landscape.
Yeah,
Is a
yeah,
whole heap of things in the space. It's not just
yeah,
one thing. And industry-wise, also you hear that. So
yes,
Tandy Newton, who's now using Tandiwe Newton,
yeah. Hmm.
because she was told that's too hard to pronounce,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
too
yeah.
exotic. What's his name? Stephen Rode, who was in
Yeah,
Psych to that look. He's now using Rodriguez because they told him, first of all, you don't look Spanish enough, and it's going
yeah,
to so that thing of stepping into, who are you, the name that you're called. And after Paul to big up, you call his name Ashley Walters,
yeah,
who
yeah.
we're proud of, because originally I had a struggle with Ashley. I thought he was being stereotyped, the roles he was
Yes.
getting, but he's broken out of that,
Yeah.
both as a director, and I'm really just happy for him and proud of him,
Yeah.
and stepping into this broader, expansive thing, which for you as a performer, I'm sure is important, and we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
So I'll go
Yeah.
back. So Marcus James, little Marcus James, running around Jamaica, prep or primary school. Where did you go?
Oh my gosh. I think it was. I went to quite a few, to be honest, because my family moved around a lot. But we did live in St.
Mhm.
Catherine, so
Right,
I did go to St. Catherine. It's either prep or primary, one of them, to be
right.
completely
And then
honest with you.
high school.
And then high school, I went to Calabar High School.
You went to
And
Calabar. I went to Calabar. Why did I not
I
know you
I
were
know
a
that. I know
Calabar? You were
that.
probably many moons after me,
Yeah.
and you went up to fifth
But
form in Calabar or sixth form.
I went to fifth and sixth form
You
at
did both.
Calabar, and Calabar was an interesting experience because I was very early on involved in track, and
Right.
this is an important story because the head of the track team wanted me to join the track team because of course
Mm-hmm.
Calabar in Jamaica is renowned for creating track stars and as
Mm-hmm.
particularly good at the 100 and 200
Sprinter.
traditional race
Okay.
traditional race, but also the hurdles. So I remember I remember that the coach used to wait on me until the class ended to talk to me, and then every time I saw him, like I would dodge, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't sure if that's the route I wanted to go. But I did very very well in sports. I did very well in track, and my dad was actually the coach of Jamaica's national hockey team. So for a while, I played hockey. So I started off in sports, and then I
Interesting.
got called into an audition for Little People. Now, when I went
Right.
into yeah, so
Aha.
when I went into Little People, I wasn't exactly sure what I was getting into because at that point in time, I didn't necessarily consciously think, I want to be a performer and this is it. I
Cool.
had
So I
an
want to double
interest.
back. So
Yeah,
was that did the little people thing happen while you were in high school, while you were at Calabar?
yeah. So it happened while I was in high school and while
And
I
how did you
was
get called in? So you didn't seek them out an audition.
no. So I got called in initially by the music teacher of Calabar High School. I forgot her name. Miss Ismay
Uh,
or something like that. Anyway, so
Ismay,
she
yes,
knew.
that sounds familiar. Ismay,
Yeah.
yes.
So she knew about the audition and she pulled me aside and she told me about it and I went in and auditioned. I actually auditioned twice to be honest, because I went in
Mhm.
first and then something happened and I wasn't able to fulfill my obligations. I think we were traveling overseas. And then I went in the second time
Right.
to audition, and that's when things started, and that's when I was focused, and that's when I really became a part of the company. And in the second audition that I went into, um I remember it wasn't at the Pegasus. I think it was at the one next to the Pegasus, which was a Wyndham.
Wyndham, right? Right.
I'm pretty sure it was at the Wyndham. And I just remember seeing just a whole bunch of very talented people sitting outside. And, I spoke to people and I went in and auditioned. And I did very well singing. And I remember one of the audition exercises was to go across the room without walking. And so I think I did cartwheels and some some very varying other things. Something very athletic, of course. And then the other
Okay.
exercise was to call somebody. They said you're on stage, pretend as if you're calling somebody to you. So of course, on stage you have to use big gestures. So that's what I did. That's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what I did. And in any case, a few weeks later, I got a call at my house from Kathy Levy, which was
Right.
very, superstar calling me on the phone, Kathy Levy. It's like, and they offered me a place in Little People, and that's when it all started. And I went in
Nice.
there. By that time, I had more of a conscious idea of wanting to be a part of this organization because not only could I see a way to become a greater version of myself in terms of the arts, but
Mm-hmm.
there was something in my intuition which
Right.
told me that I was in the right place. I felt very
Nice.
comfortable. It didn't at any point feel like an awkward decision. There were no
Nice.
second thoughts. I got in there, I sat in the room, I knew that I belonged, but I also
Yes.
knew that I was going to have to work because
Right.
honestly, there were so many talented people
Right.
in that
And
room. And I was like,
and so your Calabar thing was tracks and
hmm
sports. Did
yeah,
you do any? And you were in the choir, so the music teacher recommended. So you did music as a subject. Were
I
you in the
didn't do music
choir
per
at
se.
Calabar?
I didn't do music per se. I did more drama. So,
Oh, so Miss Disney knew
and
you from drama versus
from
music.
drama, and then that's when she told me
Ah,
about the audition and I went in.
so you did
um
drama as a subject. Were you in the drama club at Calabar?
I can't I know I did plays at Calabar,
Right.
and I did like the festival, J
JCDC,
something, JCDC
JCDC.
festival, and
Right.
I this is gonna sound odd, but I think I came second or third out of
Right.
all the schools, out of all the competitors in on
And
that.
this was for drama or speech? Was it
This was
was speech?
speech. It was a poem,
Right. Cool.
and interestingly, that poem had to do with. I remember things in great detail. The premise of the poem was somebody who was aesthetically ambiguous and was trying to find his identity in society
Hmm.
in Jamaica. And I always think about that poem, not necessarily because it relates to my mindset, but because it relates to my experiences in the arts. Like I'm pulled
Yes.
in many different directions in terms of my
Yes.
aesthetics and my
Yes.
ability to be varying ethnicities and such.
Yes.
And I always think about that poem as kind of like not necessarily a manifester, but
Right.
an indicator of what was to come. And this was very early on, like I was a kid
Yeah. Do you
on
remember the
this.
name of the poem
I don't remember the name of the poem,
or
but
the
I
poet?
do remember. I remember being on stage and talking about racial identity and a lot of mixed emotions and stuff like
There
that.
are no
And I
accidents.
got to the finals. I got to the finals, and Dervin Malcolm won. That I remember.
Also
But
from Calabar.
he used to win quite a lot.
Oh,
But
yes, also from Calabar.
yeah, I thought I stood I definitely stood a very good chance because I was right up there
Nice.
with him and everybody else. So
Yeah.
but I always think about that poem as kind of like a precursor to my experiences in the entertainment landscape, and particularly in
Awesome.
film and television.
So tell you what, I want to make a Fabian say commitment. So I'm committing here. I'm gonna
Hmm
work with Marcus and we're gonna see if we can remember that poem, find it, and
I
maybe share a
yes.
recording of it something later on as a special feature.
Yeah, yeah. I'd
Because
be
I think
interested in finding it as well.
yeah, because what as you said in the intro, I talked about destiny and finding your calling, and I love the fact
Hmm
my absolute favorite Jamaican saying of all time ever is "What
hmm
is feel cannot be unfeel."
Exactly.
And if, as
Yeah.
a teacher, as a mentor, as a life coach, as a drama teacher, whatever,
Yeah.
young people are and not young and old say, how will I know when I find my passion, when I find my thing? And I always
You
say, you will know.
you
You will
feel it.
feel it in every
Yeah.
fiber of your being. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's overwhelming, sometimes it's frightening, but you will know because you go, okay, this
Yeah.
right here, this is it.
You know
And
how
so you
I
did.
tell for me?
Mhm.
Um I always feel a sense of calm.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
exciting. It's like a quiet
yeah.
excitement,
It's that sweet spot. It's that thing. It's
yeah,
that
yeah.
yeah.
And
Some people
sometimes
it's a hum. Something it's a
yeah.
vibration.
And
And I
sometimes
also believe that.
your destiny pulls you in.
Yep,
It
yep.
pulls you in. Yeah.
And sometimes unplanned. You weren't planned. You didn't. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
firmly believe again. Anything that is your calling, will
Mm-hmm.
keep calling whether you answer or not. And when you
Yes.
do, it's like that kismet almost.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
did Kathy Levy, so you did Little People, and Little People is such an amazing training ground. And then Ashe kind of
Mm-hmm.
evolved out of Little People.
Yeah.
And so you were with Ashe as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
what was that like? How do you think that helped prepare you
Mm-hmm.
for where you are now?
Yeah. So actually kind of further solidified my um identity as a performer, in
Hmm.
that I knew that I was on the right path, not only because it felt right, but also because I was doing well.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had an impact on stage, not necessarily because of what people were saying to me, but just because it felt right.
Hmm.
I was dancing very well, I was singing very well, I was acting very well. And we'll get into the acting a bit later on, but now that I'm operating in the film and television space, I
Hmm.
would say that I was displaying an ability to be very good as an actor, is what I will
Right.
say in
Right.
in 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 Ashe. My performances were resonant, but I think it's way more refined now. But at the time, I think, when you're on stage, there's something called a performer slash actor.
Hmm.
That's what I was at that time. Now
Right.
I'm an actor
Right.
with
And
additional performance skills.
I remember that. So
Yeah.
everybody has a different energy and vibe on stage.
Yes. Yes.
So for instance, Anno, as you know, Anno was explosive. Anno had this
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
effusive,
Yeah.
um, and and it had its own energy and kind of light.
Hmm.
And then you had like a Michael Holgate and a Conway. Each of you had a thing. Michael Sean Harry. Michael had a thing. Um,
Yeah.
I remember
I always thought that Michael
yours was
Harris
very
sounded like
solid and contained.
yeah. As a singer, I always thought that Michael Harris sounded like Aaron Neville.
Yeah, Michael's voice was, and there was Roz, and
Yeah, yeah,
Rosalind, and so everybody, and so
yeah.
that thing of in those days finding where you fit and your style, and then as I would just want to share with people, Marcus has followed that because you've had stuff on, you've done stage, you've done theater, you've done
Mm-hmm.
dance,
Mm-hmm.
you've done ads, you've done so that kind of, so one of the things, when the industry broadens and your landscape broadens,
Mm-hmm.
and even working in Jamaica and prepping people, even the Jamaican landscape, I say to
Mm-hmm.
them, when you get to abroad, sometimes there's ads or calls ask for an actor who can sing,
Yeah,
a
exactly.
singer who can dance. Your main skill is your singing,
Mm-hmm.
but you should be able to move. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're specific. They say, we want and sometimes what I call the triple threat. You
Yeah.
can sing, act, and dance. And that's an important thing for performers in terms of prepping themselves and even training.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a whole thing, some people, there's voice acting. So some people are doing multiple gigs. And then, even that thing I remember when I was in the advertising industry, there are people who are hand models.
Mm-hmm.
You may never see their face, but because of their hands, they get a lot of money off their hands. And I think that's, for me, a beautiful thing about your career and what you've segued into is this
Mm-hmm.
niche. You're a niche performer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you've exercised that expertise and done the training and done the work. And as you say now, you can say, my focus is now film and television.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. How do you feel now about where you are in your career?
I feel um as if I'm in the I know I'm in the correct space. I know I've made the right decisions. Everything has unfolded in a way that has been planned, but also in a way that has gone with my own intuition. And
Mm,
when I mentioned earlier that sometimes your destiny will pull you in, that's happened a few times. It happened with The Lion King. When
mhm,
I finished my degree in the UK, I was actually contemplating going back to Jamaica and actually had bought a plane ticket. And then 2 weeks before I left, I got a call from somebody I hadn't spoken to in years. Her name is Robin Carr, and she told me about
Robin.
yes, and she told me about an audition for We Will Rock You. I went into We Will Rock You. I sang brilliantly. I know I did well because the other competitors were standing at the door when I
Hmm.
started to sing, looking through the glass, and I was like, okay, okay, something is happening here. I didn't get We Will Rock You, but the casting director for We Will Rock You was the same casting director for The Lion King, Pippa Alien. And then she pulled me aside and she said, "Hey, we're gonna take you over to Disney." Started auditioning for Disney, and I got in after 10 auditions and
Nice.
countless callbacks and meetings. And
Yeah.
I did my final audition for Disney, and I got on a plane and I actually went back to Jamaica. And I was in Jamaica for about a month. I think after uh, maximum a month, but it may have been 3 weeks. And I got a call and they said, "Hey, we'd like to offer you a role in Disney's The Lion King on the West End. Will you accept?" And I
Nice.
said, "Absolutely."
Nice.
And
And
that's when
so
I went back to England, and that's when the whole journey started.
lovely. And you mentioned Mahabharata earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've done Aida, you've
Mm-hmm.
been Death in Venice,
Mm-hmm.
Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
So some
I did
solid.
Carmen
Those are
three times.
those are like big theatrical titles.
Huge theatrical
Performed at
productions.
Royal Albert Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the movie thing, and we have a couple of pics that you share with us from the. So I'm just gonna go through them. So we have Family Business, and
Yeah.
we have you in character as Candy, and on set you've done Cabin Pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You've done an
As
episode of
Cody.
Days of Our Lives,
Yeah.
My Mate is a Vampire, Headless Horseman, Keeping Up with the Joneses, Cyberpunk 2077,
Mm-hmm.
um, She, which is Shared Human Experience, which is a
Mm-hmm.
short,
Yeah.
Mummy Mysteries, Escape the Night, Shine Down Monsters, and of course, probably the biggie, Game of Thrones. So I have to
Yeah.
pause and I have to do a Game of Thrones disclosure. I never got into Game of Thrones. I tried 3 times. Absolute, I thought brilliant production
Yeah.
quality, stunned, but it just did not pull me in. And
Yeah. Yeah.
interestingly, recently there's a thing now with the tall guy, a night thing that apparently
Mm-hmm.
is connected. And I tried to watch it first, and I was like, no. But Game of Thrones was huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the
And then
biggest,
so
arguably the biggest
you did
television
Love, which
show.
is a short.
Mm-hmm.
Number 203,
Yeah,
The
that was
Religion
like
Business.
yes. So the religion business actually just came out.
Right.
So it's on Amazon now.
And you're playing a pastor in that.
Yeah, Pastor Mac. Yeah.
Pastor
And
Mac.
yeah, yeah. There's a
And
very interesting.
are you in pre-production for something folklore? Yeah, is that happening, or is that
That is in pre-production. But
okay?
I am in talks to do a film with the same producer of the religion business. His name is Josh Eisenstadt, and
Right.
based on my performance or working with me on the religion business, he pulled me aside and said, I have a role for you in a film coming up. It's a lead role. And I know that he's acquired funding for it already. The script is done, and so we're in pre-production for that, and that's going to be filming, I think, run about the summer.
Okay.
So that's locked in already. And then
Nice.
at present, so the religion business is out, and I'm also in season 6 of the family business, opposite Michael Jai White and Amelia Rivera. Um,
Nice.
so it's, and it's very interesting for me to be saying all these things and all these titles. And, when you mentioned the magnitude of having performed at the Royal Albert Hall and with Royal Opera and with English National, these are all very big names.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing that I want to point out in and amongst all these things is that I trained exclusively in Jamaica. So
Right.
all my foundational training was in Jamaica. So when you talk about being in Little People, being in Ashe, being in Lakadko, that
Hmm.
was my primary training
Yes.
ground. And that is what set the
Yes.
basis for everything that I have achieved. So everything that I have achieved on top of that I basically trained on the job
Yeah.
after that, because once I
And that's
booked,
and I'm glad you said that because that's so
yeah,
significant, and
yes, I
especially
wanted to
for
throw that in there. Yeah.
folks on the ground now, young people, because sometimes there's a mindset, and I think it's a Caribbean thing that you
Hmm.
have to go abroad to get solid foundational training for legitimacy. And as you said,
Yeah.
your thing was a yard.
Hmm.
So I want to pause and I want to
Hmm.
big up little people. Kathy Levy, bless you wherever you are. Enough love and light, enough love and light. And people who don't know, Kathy was probably the one of the most well-known Miss Jamaica worlds,
Hmm.
who went on to her love of theater. Joseph Robinson, Paulette Bellamy, Ashe. Miss Paulette is still with us. Big up yourself. Um, my heartstring, mad woman, Dr. Lantoinette Oshun Ide
Yeah. Yeah.
Steins.
Yeah.
The cat is still going strong, and they now have, Jesse Shaw is assistant artistic director, and
Oh,
that
oh.
solid training ground. So yeah, big that up. And then the other thing that's, I think, and I talked about this with people, is Usain Bolt
Hmm.
did not train anywhere else but Jamaica either.
Exactly.
Usain
Yeah.
has never been trained by a foreign coach.
I would say
Homegrown. I think
that,
that's very important
yeah,
in the
that's the
landscape.
way my story unfolded, and in
Yeah.
many respects, like, I didn't have a choice but to train on the job, because I booked The Lion King straight out of the
Hmm.
gates. Like,
Yeah.
I went to the UK to study film production, so I actually did study film production. And before I
Right.
went to back to Jamaica, as I said, I did the audition for The Lion King. After The Lion King, I started working with English National. I did Aida on the West End. I
Hmm.
booked Royal Albert Hall. Then I started working in the commercial realm, and I booked commercials for Nike and Nokia and Cadbury's chocolate. And I was just working, bam, 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 bam,
Yeah.
bam.
Nice.
So I didn't have time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
to go to school. I will say that, however, if you do have the opportunity to study overseas, like, it's viable for you. You can,
Yeah.
go to study acting or music or dance overseas, and it makes sense for you. You should take that opportunity, because what it does is that it paves the way for you to understand how the industry works on an
Yes.
international stage. I was thrown into it.
Yeah.
And
Baptism
so
by
it
fire.
I was thrown into it. And so I had to learn very, very quickly, even making the shift from stage to film and television. Like,
Hmm.
Game of Thrones was the second ever in-person audition that I ever did for any film and TV anything.
Right.
And I booked it. And I also booked the first one, which was a film with Ashley Walters.
Nice.
And on set for Game of Thrones, I remember getting a note from the director, because I had been working in theater quite a lot. And there was something that I did, a reaction to something, and the reaction was too big,
Yes.
right? And for film and TV, it needs to be really contained, and the energy needs to be in
Yes.
the eyes, and you just bring that essence and energy through minimalism,
Hmm.
almost. And there was a reaction that I did, and the reaction was too big, and he hit the table, and he was like, "Don't do that!" And he, boom, and he hit the table, and I was like, "Okay, I understand." And I think the reason why he did that was because the scene was going so well,
Right.
so smooth, and then all of a sudden, I think I had to look. I think I had to look right. The direction was to take account of your environment before you step into the door
Yeah.
of the brothel, which is where I get into. And I think I did this, or did
Right.
something too quickly, way too quickly. And I
Hmm.
think, as an artist, he was watching it, and then all of a sudden this thing just jumped out of him that wasn't
Yeah.
at him, that wasn't right. And he hit the desk, and he's like, "Don't do that." And I was like, "Okay, fine, I get it."
I get
Second
it.
time I
I get
went
it.
in, Second time I went in, I contained the emotion. I put it in my eyes. I allowed the energy to come through, and I trusted that I was doing a good job, and I didn't
Right.
have to overplay what I was doing.
Right.
And so, when I say that I was thrust into it and I learned on the job, that's what I mean. So
Nice.
that's what I
Yeah.
mean. Like,
And
I got my direction on set,
were you
not
a
in a
game were you a
classroom.
Game of Thrones Game of Thrones fan? Were you watching it?
I
Was
was
it in your
not.
space before
I
you, or
was
you weren't?
I was not. However, before the night before I went into the casting was when I was told it was for Game of Thrones, and so I did my research.
Hmm.
I watched videos on YouTube. I looked on the premise of the show, but also the description of the character kind of gave me the confidence in knowing that I was White Rat. I am White Rat.
Hmm.
The because the description was North African, Middle Eastern, racially ambiguous or mixed race, 5'10", shaved head, muscular, athletic, olive complexion, and I was like, hmm.
Who could they be talking about? Like,
I was like, and in my head,
pretty much.
in my head, I said, all I have to do is go into that room and claim the role. That's literally all I have to do. I just have to go
Because
in
what's
and
on this page right here
is me.
is me.
Is me.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I did. I went in, and even what I wore for the casting, I didn't want to
Hmm.
overdo it. So I didn't wear like a vest or a cutoff thing. I wore
Hmm.
a long sleeve shirt, but that accentuated my body, but it wasn't about my body. Like, I
Right.
walked into the room and they're like, oh, obviously he works out. But I didn't walk in
Right.
with a tank top, which would
Right.
suggest something else, you know?
Yeah. And what's
And
great is that awareness speaks to
mhm.
your training, your that sensibility, theater, the costuming, all those
Yes,
pieces,
exactly.
because you
Yeah, yeah,
use
yeah.
those tools as a performer. Because you kind of go, okay, let me, because how you dress and carry yourself is important in the space, but that also that
Yeah,
awareness
yeah,
is really, really powerful. So
yeah. But
physicality. So I
yes,
wanted to ask
yes.
you, track,
Mm-hmm.
sports caliber.
Mm-hmm.
I follow you on social media. I said, oh, yo, brethren, you work out
Mm-hmm.
religiously. So
Mm-hmm.
is that a two-pronged thing? Is that from the athleticism and the sports, but also the necessity for your craft? Have
Yes,
those two
both.
worlds met?
Yes. So I consistently play I would say very strong characters, a lot of villains, but also a lot of warriors.
Hmm.
White Rat is a warrior. The role that I played in Aida on stage, I played a samurai warrior, and I did like 3 or 4 months of training in Japanese sword fighting and qigong and martial arts training for that. I played the role of Arjuna in the Mahabharata. Arjuna is a
Hmm.
warrior torn between war and love. Um, I'm a villain in the family business,
Hmm.
in cabin pressure. I'm another villain with like a multitude of fight scenes, and so my career has really, I think the roles I play tap into my athleticism, and I love it.
Right.
And so what happens now is that that aspect has become a part of my performing identity, or identity as an
Right.
actor, as much as my ability to do the roles from an emotional standpoint. And
Yeah.
so for me, my physicality already suggests the role that I will be cast, the
Right.
roles that I will be cast as, or the roles that I'm right for, that
Right.
physicality will suggest. And as my career progresses, then I'm sure I'll be able to um, operate outside of that a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think, as an actor, you use your assets to the best of your abilities to solidify yourself in the
Definitely.
space, and
Yeah.
then afterwards, then you can branch out if
Yeah.
you want. If you want, I love the roles I play. I love
No, nice.
playing very
Do
strong
you have
characters.
do you have a favorite role so far? Do you have a role that stands out for you as one that, whether it was the character stuff or the process? Do you have a favorite role so far?
Yeah, I have a few. Um, Obviously, Game of Thrones.
Right.
More so because of what it has done for my career, and the international visibility that
Hmm.
it brought. Because literally, my world changed overnight with Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. Like that was another kind of like, it's almost like my talent and my destiny, if you will, it's almost like there's a force pushing me. It's like
Yeah.
it happened with The Lion King. You know, I was just shoved into it. Then it
Hmm.
happened with the film I did with Ashley Walters. I was shoved into it, and then
What was the name of that
um,
film with Ashley? What was the name of the film with Ashley?
Reunion.
Reunion. Okay.
Yeah, so it did very well at the London Film Festival, and I mean it's classed as a short film, but it's I'm pretty sure it's like 50 minutes long, so it's in between a feature
Okay.
film and a short film. It
Right.
happened with the Mahabharata, you know, when I went into audition as a dancer, and then all of a sudden they asked me to read for the lead, and I got the lead role. So it's kind of like I'm being pulled, and very
Yeah.
viciously as well. You know,
What
I'm
is
like,
for you cannot be
yeah, and I'm,
unfeel.
you know, and I'm going, yeah, I'm going along with the ride, and I'm like learning along the way, and I have to learn very, very quickly. So the it happened with Game of Thrones because you know, all of a sudden, you know, I'm in the biggest television show in the world, and in the debut episode as a pivotal guest star. So that opened a lot of doors. My role with Keeping Up with the Joneses, I was a series
Hmm.
regular
Right.
alongside Vivica Fox and Eric Roberts.
Right.
That was a significant role for me because it allowed me. It was another villain role, but it was more emotionally. It relied less on the physicality,
Oh,
and
okay.
so right. And so what I had to do was to pivot and to put that intensity that I would normally put in my physicality into the emotional aspect of it.
Hmm.
So it taught me to trust that I didn't need to rely on my physicality to depict these strong,
Yes.
athletic, or villainous roles. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, to be honest with you, like I can lean into that physicality quite easily because I know it's there.
Yes.
You know, so I know
Hmm.
as soon as I enter the room as a villain, that's going to be suggested. And it makes it
Right.
very easy for me. Now, if you strip that away, I have to
Yeah.
then find a space. I have to find somewhere for that energy to go. And
And
so
that's what's
for,
the interesting as an actor when you
yeah,
can do that. Where you because after a while people say, "Oh, that's a big muscly guy," and when you get
exactly.
to
Yeah,
see
yeah,
you
yeah.
do something different,
Yeah.
and you intuitively, but also with the director's help, lean
Hmm.
into something else. For me,
Hmm.
those are some of the more interesting roles because you
Yeah.
expect, but when somebody is able to nuance different
Yeah.
things is important. Do
Hmm.
you
Hugely
have,
important.
what do you think is, do you have any dream roles
Yeah.
headed with people you'd like to work with?
Yes.
What
And
what's
they're
what's
unfolding.
next for you? Huh?
Yeah, they're unfolding. Like, I mean, I do a lot of castings, and I'm, you know, the interesting
Awesome.
thing is that right after I did, first of all, as soon as I landed in LA, I was in the casting room for all the major films, all the major TV shows. I got called into Paramount Studio to read, just to have a general reading,
Hmm.
and that was an interesting experience. I will answer the question in a minute, but I'm just painting a picture.
Hmm.
So I was called into Paramount, and they called in like a whole bunch of actors. It was, you know, there were a lot of actors sitting down in one room, and I went into a studio, and I had to stand in a line, and there were like a whole bunch of executives behind a desk. I had to
Hmm.
say a few lines. It wasn't for anything specific, by the way.
Right.
I had to say a few lines, and then they made notes and they whispered to each other, and they looked at me and they were like, you know, when we call you back in again, we need you to say the line in this way, this way, this way. And then they looked at me some more,
Hmm.
wrote some notes, and I had the same experience at CBS. I went into CBS to read, not for anything specific, but potentially for a few shows. And
Hmm.
they had my resume and picture in a desk. And when I walked in, you know, there was a lady sitting on this side, there was a lady behind a desk. She opened her desk and pulled out the picture and looked. And she looked at me, and then she looked at the picture, and then she looked at me. And then we did the lines, and then she made some notes. And, you know, I was just standing there. And then she had a conversation with the lady, and she said, "Okay, well done, thank you." She put my picture and the resume back in her desk and shut the desk. Um, so I say all that to say that I'm very much within the casting system, and I have a very good relationship with the casting offices in Los
Good.
Angeles. interestingly, after I did Days of Our Lives, the director came up to me and she shook my hand and she was like, really good job. And then she walked off. 2 days later, I was called in for a supporting lead role in a film with Jenna Ortega. And anyway, so after I did
Mm.
Days of Our Lives, the, the level
Yeah.
of the castings went like that, you
Yeah.
know? I've been auditioning for CBS for quite a while, and there was I actually did book a role a few years ago for Magnum PI,
Mm.
and then during that time was when the COVID thing was happening, and
Yeah.
filming was happening or not happening, and anyway, it didn't end up happening. But so I say all that to say that all the roles that I want are out there. I'm
Yes.
being seen for them. I'm being called in for
Nice.
them. I know exactly what's unfolding, and I just have to stay on the path and send in good work and be very optimistic and proactive. I just sent
Nice.
in a tape for a horror film, a psychological horror, which I would love to get. It's this the callback for it. So now it's
Right.
whittled down to I don't know how many people, but very few, I imagine.
Yeah.
Um, and I was also down to the final rounds for a show on ABC, which you have reviewed many times and which you definitely watch and which you definitely like.
So
so
if you get it, I will definitely see you.
yeah, so I say all that to
And
say that I'm
you know, I'll be screaming at the screen, right? You know, I'll be like,
yeah.
ah! Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
will
I'm
be
I'm
beside
in
you.
the conversations for sure.
Good.
I know that, and it's just up to me to continue doing what I'm doing, but also to create my own work.
Yeah.
There is a project that I am working on. It's a horror film, a horror drama, and I'm working with a graduate of the LA Film School.
Hmm.
Um, and we're refining the script, and I have
Nice.
some attachments. I have some friends of mine who have been in very prominent shows on Netflix. One of
Hmm.
the actors from Griselda from Netflix is
Right.
interested. One of my friends who I did Game of Thrones with is extremely interested. So
Nice.
I have attachments, and that's evolving as well because I think
Good.
the way the industry is going, it's in the actors' hands to be proactive, not necessarily
Right.
only with promoting themselves, but also with creating their own brand and
Yep.
creating their own work. So
Nice.
I'm leaning into that evolution of the industry.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And I want to ask, as we're getting close to wrapping up, so in terms of your landscape and your team, so you have like agent,
Oh yeah,
publicist, yeah, and you've had that
yeah.
consistently.
I've had it consistently, and I'm signed in Europe, and I'm signed in the UK, and I'm signed in the US. So
Nice.
I also do castings for the productions in the UK. More so, I do more castings. Most of my castings are for American shows.
Hmm.
I guess because I'm in LA, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But it's unfolding quite well. There is,
Nice.
obviously the unpredictability of it is a slightly difficult sometimes to accept is the
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
I but all I have to do is to hand in consistently good castings, and I know that I
There you
am
go.
handing in good castings because it's the same casting directors calling me in over and over.
Nice.
And that's a telltale sign that you are doing something right.
Yes.
And also the fact that I have been working consistently. I came over here in 2020, mid 2020. I
Hmm.
came over here before to have some meetings and stuff, but I went back to the UK. I did some contracts in the UK, then came over in mid 2020. And
Hmm.
so that's been, just over 5 years. And within
Yeah.
5 years, you know, I've done quite a lot. So I'm very proud of
Mm.
myself, to be completely
And
honest with you.
affirming more
A
of that.
100%, affirming more. Like I can feel it.
Yeah,
I can literally feel it. Like I can
yeah,
feel the ground shaking. I can feel it moving. I
nice.
know it.
So
So
last thing
what
I
I
want to ask, go
yeah.
ahead.
So what I mean by the unpredictability is a difficult thing to accept. It's the fact that I can feel the earth moving.
Mm,
But you just need that confirmation. But it's fine. The
yeah,
confirmation always comes. It's
indeed.
yeah.
Because what is feel cannot be unfeel.
Exactly.
The last thing I want to ask
Exactly.
before we get to the fun thing at the end is would you be open to interest, because the Jamaican film industry has really grown leaps and bounds,
Yes.
and whether it's
The answer is
independent
yes.
productions, film festivals, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Are you open to being in a Jamaican feature?
Yes, 100%. I knew what you were
Yeah.
gonna ask, and I'm answering the
You're like,
question
yes.
very blatantly. Yeah, because I see the quality of the work that's coming out. There's a new film now called Stew Peas.
Hmm.
There are other productions happening. I know
Yeah.
Miss Lindo, who was just in Sinners, but he's
Delroy Lindo,
Delroy Lindo.
he's
He's
working
going to
on,
be
yeah,
working
yeah.
on a project. Also, there's a film festival that I've been working. Yeah, I've been working with the Black River Film
Black
Festival
River,
as
yes.
a judge, and I've seen
Nice.
the quality of the projects that are coming out, and it's brilliant. I would
Yeah.
love to do a Jamaican production.
Awesome.
Love it. Very
Affirming
open
that,
to it.
affirming
Yeah.
that. So again, I'm so proud of you and happy for you, Marcus. I really,
Thank
really
you.
am. And I'm affirming bigger, bolder, and better things for you.
I appreciate it.
As you proceed, yeah, knowing it is so and so it is. Ashe, we say.
And so it is.
So when guests come on to Fabian Say, we have a
Okay.
little fun at the end. So you have
All right.
three options to choose
Mm-hmm.
from. So one option is reggae run-ins. I'm going to test your knowledge and on reggae things.
Oh
And
God.
you know,
Okay.
it's February is reggae month in addition to Black History Month.
Right. Right.
Or
Right.
you can choose Jamaican proverbs and such delights, or movie and TV things. I wonder what he'll choose.
Wow.
So reggae run-ins, Jamaican proverbs and such delights, or movie and TV
You know what?
things.
I'm gonna go with reggae runnings. I think it's an
Reggae
unexpected
run-ins.
choice for me. I think people would expect me to choose movies and so on and so forth. But let's go with reggae runnings because I'm keen to see my own knowledge of
All
this
right.
and how much I've maintained my kind of ties.
All right. So let's see. So the first thing is I want you to put these musical genres in the correct chronological sequence:
Wow.
raga, reggaeton,
Mm-hmm.
dancehall, mento, ska, reggae, rocksteady. What is
Wow.
the first one? Which one must go first, as in it was the earliest?
The earliest, I'm gonna say ska.
So ska. And then
Yeah.
second,
Read the others. Reggaeton
so
is definitely last.
reggae, rocksteady,
No,
dancehall.
hold on, stop. Mento is the
So
first one.
mento first.
Yeah,
Good answer.
because
And
that
then,
I mean that intrinsically has historical ties.
yes,
Mento, and then read the others for me.
reggae, rocksteady, ska, dancehall, raga, reggaeton.
Ska second.
Ska next, cool.
Hmm.
And then,
Is it Rocksteady?
so you have rocksteady, reggae, dancehall, reggaeton, raga.
I'm gonna say Rocksteady.
Rocksteady, and then,
Even though there's a question mark on that. Read the others. Reggaeton is definitely at the bottom, but read the
all
others.
right. So there's reggae, dancehall, and raga.
Mm-hmm. Reggae, dancehall, and raga. Is raga is a that sounds like a British definition of
Yeah,
something.
so it's like the subgenre of dancehall influenced,
Right. So
and
so
then
then we go with
there's a more
reggae.
reggae influence, reggaeton, which is more Latin
Right.
flavored.
So then next would be reggae, because then that's, you're talking
So
about
mental ska, rocksteady, reggae,
dancehall,
dancehall,
raga,
raga,
and
and
reggaeton.
reggaeton last.
Yeah.
So you're almost there
Okay.
because rocksteady came after reggae, and rocksteady had
Okay.
a very brief period of life. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
mental ska, reggae, rocksteady, dancehall, raga, reggaeton.
Okay.
So not
I
bad,
almost, yeah,
sir.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Not bad at all.
I mean, I've never heard of raga as a genre within itself. So
Yeah, so it's interesting how it broadens, and then
yeah,
now in terms of Jamaican or reggae influences, also EDM is in the mix,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
dubstep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Dubstep
so
and stuff
it's
like that. Yeah, yeah,
this little island, Jamaica, has given the world or influenced at least 8 musical genres.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right,
Another one?
yeah, man.
Oh gosh.
So when did
Oh
at the
gosh.
Grammys and when Grammys and the Grammys has
Just
happened,
yeah, February
right?
1st.
So when did the reggae category move from being best reggae recording
Mm-hmm.
to best reggae album at the Grammys? Because the first thing was best reggae recording in
Gosh.
1985. When was the category renamed as best reggae album? You remember in what year?
I do not actually, but I'm gonna say 2000.
Close, 1992.
All right, close enough.
And do you know who won the first reggae recording, the reggae recording Grammy? Which it
Marley.
was a group. I'll give you a hint. It was a group.
Um, Third World.
You're close. It's 2 names in the group. It's not third world. The
Sly and
first,
Robbie.
so no, the first name, the first name start with B, and the second letter is
Bob
U.
Marley and the Wailers.
No man. So
No.
B U.
Bunny Wailer.
The
And
album
no.
was called Anthem.
Oh my gosh. Who was
Um,
it?
to get a itty off, fitty off, fitty, fitty, fitty. You know who sang that?
Yes, I know the song.
Solidarity. Black Uhuru.
Black Uhuru. Okay.
Black Uhuru. All right, so
Okay.
one last one. One last
Ah,
one. Should
okay.
I give you an easy one or a hard one?
Give me an easy one, please.
All
Black
right, so
Uhuru.
I don't know if this is easier. What does likewise reggae month? What does Jaria stand for? The
Jaria.
abbreviation Jaria stand for? Because they're the ones who have designated reggae month and they do advocacy around reggae music and the industry. Do you know what it stands for? Jaria. So the JA
No.
is an easy one. So JA is low hanging fruit. That's
Jamaica recording.
Jamaica. And the
Yeah.
R is
Recording
nope.
industry.
Think of another R.
Reggae. Jamaica Reggae
Reggae
Institute
in industry. You're right.
Industry
And the A,
Association.
Correctamundo. So the
Okay.
Jamaica Reggae Industry Association and the
Yeah.
current serving chairman is Ewan Simpson.
Right. Which
So
I should know
the
that.
last thing I'm going to ask you is, and this I don't know before your time. This is a big tune. So I'm gonna say a lyric from a
Oh
song,
gosh.
and the lyric is, "Forgetful of a promise of love to share in another's charms." Do you either know which song that is from or the singer?
Sing it for
Pam,
me.
padam, padam, pam, padam, padam.
I know the song.
Dun. My heart is fading like a broken melody.
Oh my god.
The man a cheat on her, giving her bun, and she's singing about it.
I know the song. I know the song.
The
I
song
know the
starts with P, and the singer first name is P, and her surname start with H. To you, my heart cries out what? To you, my heart cries out Perfidia.
yes, I know it. I know it. I just can't
And
remember
Pam
the
Hall
singer.
is the name.
Pam
Pam
Hall.
Hall is the
Okay.
name. Yes, yes, yes. Do you have a favorite reggae band or song?
Many. I actually, to be completely honest with you, I actually prefer dancehall, like raw. I like Movado. I like
Go to your room.
Skillibang.
Go to your room.
Skillibang. I
So you
like
like Mavada and who else?
Skillibang. I like
Skillibang.
you know, Beenie Man to an extent, but more
Mm-hmm.
so Bounty Killer. Um, Sean Paul stuff is good, obviously
Right.
for an international market, very commercial.
Yeah.
But I like the jump up and party and excitement, and
You like
then
the vibe.
I
You
like
like
the
the vibe,
vibe.
excitement, and the
I,
carelessness.
yes, 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 definitely, definitely. I like that.
Marcus Jose James, I want to say thank you for saying, and you've been the first guest for season 4 of Fabian Say.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
thank you. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Proud of you. I'm affirming
Thank you.
big, bold, and amazing things for you.
I appreciate
And
it,
it's been a
and I
pleasure
accept
to
them.
know you and watch your journey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
very proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Enough
it,
love
and
and light.
I accept everything. I accept it.
Yes, man.
Thank you.
Blessings. Take care and
All right.
thank you.
Okay then.
Bye.
Blessings.